Hello to the pessimistic, optimistic, and everyone in between. My name is Connor Philippe, and welcome back to the Minnesotan Sports Podcast. And it feels really good to actually be behind the nice camera again and have a fully, produced video for a change. I've been just behind my phone shooting selfie style for the last couple weeks because I've just been so busy. So I apologize for that, but it's time to get back to the high quality videos again. And what better way to start that than with doing some picks? It's been too long since I've done weekly NFL picks, and I'm getting back into the swing of things here. It's a new week. It's time to get some predictions that are actually going to be hopefully correct. And we have a Thursday night matchup, Bengals at Ravens. And this is a tough one right off the bat because the Bengals played the Texans last week, lost on a last second field goal. They started off really shaky, and then they were able to come back. And it feels like that's been the story for the Bengals the last couple of years. They started off their season really poorly, make their way back. The Bengals right now, honestly, lucky to be 5-4 with the way they started out their season, 0-3. And they have won enough games now where they're starting to kind of show people that they can be back and be back to being the team that they have been the last few years. But they haven't had that big game where they beat a contending team, either a team within their division or another team in the AFC, where it's like, oh, okay, the Bengals beat this team. Then they've kind of showed flashes of what they can be, and maybe they're back. And I gotta say, I think this is going to be the game. Thursday night football, Joe Burrow in prime time against a division rival that, let's be honest, if the Bengals want to have a good, legitimate chance still at contending for this AFC North and being a front runner in the AFC North, I feel like they have to win this game. They're 5-4 and at the very bottom of this division. I mean, this is an insanely good division. They've already lost to the Browns this year, and I feel like in order to try and get some momentum in this division, they have to win a game like this. And if they lose it, I don't think they'll have a chance. I think they understand that. They're going to come at this with a burning fury, and Burrow is not going to lose this game. I think that this Ravens offense has been streaky enough where it makes sense why the Ravens might not win this game. And that's just enough of a window for me to feel like I have to give the Bengals this game. And if the Bengals win, it would push the Ravens to 7-4. It would make the Bengals 6-4. I mean, this would make the AFC North even more crazy because all the four teams would be muddled in, all within a game of each other going into this next week. But yeah, I say the Bengals win. First and foremost, the Vikings and Broncos game. I'm going to do a full preview of that one coming up in the next couple days, so make sure you stay tuned for that video. Although I will say already, I do predict the Vikings to win that one. But if you want to hear my reasons why, want to hear my keys to victory for the Vikings in that game, and also I'm sure I'll give another rant as to why I hate Sean Payton because it just adds more fuel to the fire for me wanting the Vikings to win that game because I hate Sean Payton so much. But I'll explain all that and give a full prediction and preview in a video coming out in the next couple days. Steelers and Browns. Speaking again to how good this AFC North has been, Steelers at 6-3, Browns at 6-3. This is where it gets tough though because Deshaun Watson is now out for most likely the season. I mean, it's turning out to be a crazy good situation for the Texans with how many draft picks were given up by the Browns, and now they find themselves in a really sticky situation. Have to roll with PJ Walker. But honestly, the Browns have been able to get these wins racked up with a combination of Watson and Walker. Like, it's not like Watson's been the star QB for the Browns this year. I mean, Watson really hasn't even been that good. Like, I gotta be honest. Kenny Pickett was leading him in passing yards, and Pickett has not been good either. So it's not like the Browns are losing Deshaun Watson and all of a sudden they're out of it. Like, I think that gives them a little bit of a leg down on the rest of the competition in this division now. But the defense is the story for the Browns, so I still think that it's going to be a tough race. Steelers and Browns, it will be a very defensive matchup. I say the Steelers win this one. I mean, it. Some of it comes down to just it's been the way things go. You know, the Steelers come into Cleveland and get the job done. Mike Tomlin, I have too much trust in him going into a very familiar foe. Um, when two defenses play each other, usually it's Tomlin's defense that comes out ahead. So I got to go with the Steelers to win that one in what should be a very good but also a little bit boring matchup where it should be very low scoring. Bears and Lions, come on, you got to pick the Lions in this one. The Bears are a dumpster fire right now, and the Lions, especially at home, should be able to get this one done. Always a little bit of a trap game, a little bit of a scary game to go into after getting off to a good bit of momentum here for the Lions. Whenever you play a division rival, it's always going to be tough, hard fought game, and it probably will end up being close. But I just don't see the Lions being on the losing side of a close game against the Bears, who are just not good right now. And then we got the Chargers and Packers. Chargers 4-5. Honestly, I still feel like they're a good team. The Chargers are. It's just year after year, it's the same issue. Just like the Vikings this season and last season, every game is close, and they're not winning enough of them. And it's the easy thing to say about the Chargers. It's been the thing to say about them for years now. Justin Herbert is not the problem, and people say he's the problem. Somehow, still, he's starting to get the Dak Prescott treatment. And there's some quarterbacks that do deserve that, and Josh Allen deserves it after the season he's had, but Herbert doesn't. He's thrown for 2349 so far in yards, 17 TDs, only 5 interceptions, and one of the top scoring offenses in the league. And they're Herbert's not getting the respect he deserves. He is a top 5 QB, but the Chargers just need to find a way to win those close games. I don't think it'll be close though against the Packers. I think the Chargers will find a way to get one win that's more than a touchdown, which is another thing like the Vikings. They're trying to search for that as well. But the Packers, they don't have it right now. I think this Chargers defensive front will find a way to stop the run enough to pull away pretty early in this game. And I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I think they'll win by at least a touchdown. Raiders Dolphins. The Dolphins, they've won big, and they've been humbled by teams like the Eagles this year. But the Raiders, one of the worst 5-5 teams this year, in my opinion, so far. I think the Dolphins should be able to get it done, especially at home. This Raiders team doesn't have the formula, I don't think, to beat the Dolphins. They don't have the defense to catch up with them, and so I think the Dolphins should be able to get that victory. Moving on, Giants Commanders might be a little bit of a horse race here, but I do think the Commanders will take this one home. The Giants just continue to find more and more ways to fail this season. Dable, should be a little bit concerned right now about his job. If they lose another game to a division rival that is below 500, I think that it might get closer and closer to that point. As Barkley gets more and more frustrated, I say the Commanders win that game. Cowboys and Panthers, I got to go with the Cowboys. The Panthers, able to get a win a couple weeks ago, but other than that, I mean, really, what have they done? It's a rebuild period for them right now. Bryce Young hasn't been playing great, but he's still the future for the time being. It's time to start giving these QBs more than 1 year of a chance as a rookie. You can't just throw them into a situation like that and expect them to ball out right away. Some players have, like CJ Stroud, which we're about to talk about, but it doesn't mean that if a quarterback doesn't do that, they're not going to be good, and quarterbacks just haven't been given the benefit of the doubt as rookies nearly as much as they used to, and it's just not a good thing for the sport. But anyway, Cowboys should win this one handily as the Panthers are rebuilding. Titans and Jags. The Jags handed a very rough loss last week. I think they're going to take that out on the Titans, who, I really think that the only thing that can save the Titans is if Levis randomly goes off again. He had that crazy good game, but then that was supplemented by a very bad performance last week. So that all averages out to mediocre so far in his season debuts. And so I think the Jags should be able to win this one. It's a game that they should go into angry, that they were embarrassed. Like, let's be honest, they got straight up embarrassed by the 49ers last week, and they're going to come out angry and will win this game pretty handily, in my opinion. Cardinals and Texans, you think this is the kind of game the Texans would lose. They're coming off of an impressive win against the Bengals. They're 3-1 at home, going at home against the Cardinals here, 5-4 overall. In the 7th seed right now for the AFC. You'd think that this would be the kind of game the Texans would lose. I just have too much trust in CJ Stroud right now. I mean, the guy is throwing for 2,600 plus yards, 15 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions in his entire rookie career so far. This kid is special. He's the future for the Texans. He's going to continue to show that. I can't bet against the Texans and against CJ Stroud against the Cardinals team that is in full rebuild mode as well, even with Kyler Murray in. The Buccaneers and 49ers, with the Chase Young addition on defense, this defense is just unstoppable at this point. They had their little fumble. They had their little part of the season where they were embarrassed and were frustrated, but that's past them. I don't think the 49ers are going to show any signs of stopping now. I'm not going to pick the 49ers to lose until they do the rest of the season. I have full faith in the 49ers now. We've said we've been critical of them before, and we've been proven wrong every time. Go get me the 49ers against this Buccaneers team. Bills and Jets. This is a great opportunity for the Bills to come back out swinging. This is going to be one of the only seemingly easy matchups that the Bills have the rest of the season. They have a brutal schedule, which is why I just don't think that they're going to have a chance to get back into the playoff race this year unless they really go God mode and show what they're made of or what they have been made of for years past. Josh Allen's throwing for 2,600 on the nose yards, but he's thrown 19 touchdowns. It's just the 11 interceptions that are the weak point for the Bills, and I do see this game being tight and close because this Jets defense is very good, and I do think that they're going to force some turnovers. The Bills just lost to the Broncos, and that's about as bad as you can imagine it, but I think the Bills will come back at home and beat the Jets for a 325 slate. Seahawks and Rams. You know what? I'm going with my upset of the week here. I'm bringing back the upset of the week. For those of you who have not been joining me the first few weeks of the season, and then there's a big lull where I didn't do this, so I apologize again. But I always do an upset of the week where I pick one upset that I think is either the most likely or just one that's most fun to predict. The Rams are kind of one of those teams where it's like they're not good, but every once in a while they have one of those games. And the Seahawks just came off of a game where they almost lost to the Commanders. They kind of breathed a sigh of relief. They kind of let their guard down. Geno Smith has an 11 touchdown to 7 interception ratio this season, which is not great. I don't know. I feel like the Rams have a chance in this game, and they might take it and run with it. And if there is one team that I think could pull off a big upset this week, it's probably the Rams, especially considering they were able to take care of the Seahawks in Seattle to start off the season. It's just kind of a no-brainer for upset of the week. Monday Night Football. If you're a football fan, you have to be watching this game. Eagles, Chiefs for a Super Bowl rematch, and in my opinion, I think it's going to be the Super Bowl matchup again this year. Eagles have just been unstoppable on both sides of the ball. A.J. Brown tearing it up. Patrick Mahomes is finding his stride after the Chiefs' offense kind of was on a lull. And honestly, this Chiefs' defense has been a big highlight for them this year. And now they're going into Arrowhead for what should be an absolutely electric Monday Night Football game. And this is the one I've been back and forth. I got to go with the Eagles. It just feels like every time there's a crack, it gets filled instantly. And this team is just the most complete team in the league right now. Mahomes should make it a really good game, but I feel like the Eagles are the team to beat in the NFL right now, and so I got to pick them. I got to go with them until they lose. Again, another team like the 49ers where I just can't pick against them. And the Chiefs are usually that way too, but they're going up against a team that I think is better than them this year. Let me know in the comments what you think about my predictions. I'll be writing them down this time, and we'll have an accountability session next week about which ones I got right and wrong. But I'm just really excited for this week's slate of games, especially this Monday night matchup. But again, let me know what you think in the comments. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the flip side.